Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wholeness Healing, and today I want to do a talk and tap on betrayal wounds. These can show up in situations where we've been cheated on, maybe by a romantic partner or a business partner. Maybe this is a repeating pattern in different areas of our life. It might show up when we've been scammed, or we were expecting something and it didn't happen in that way. Sometimes the situation itself might seem like it's not really a betrayal, but the emotion is very strong. And that's often an indicator that we came in with this wound. Maybe it's an ancestral wound and pattern, possibly karmic if you believe in past lives. And I will link below to videos that I have on ancestral baggage, past life baggage, and also trust issues and abandonment wounds, because those are often interconnected. And even though we say, I feel betrayed, betrayal is not an actual emotion, and so it can be helpful to separate out the story of what's happening. So and so betrayed me, which may or may not be accurate, from the pure emotion. It might be shock, it might be grief, loneliness, confusion, rage, whatever gets activated. And so in this video, we'll be tapping on whatever's coming up currently and also linking it to anything that might have gotten pulled up in the process that's wanting love and attention. And as always, I do encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already, to like and comment if the video speaks to you. It helps with the algorithm and for other people to find the video. And so now I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze if that's comfortable. And just notice whatever's coming up around this sense of having been betrayed. Noticing any emotions that are coming up around this. Might be some of the ones that I previously named or others. Noticing any physical sensations in your body, any places that get tight or tingly, achy, jittery, perhaps numb, feel distant, cut off. Noticing any beliefs about either yourself or the world that might be associated with this. It could be, I can't trust anyone but myself. I shouldn't have let my guard down. The world is unsafe. I can't trust my own judgment. Or it could be something completely different, just noticing without judgment. Noticing if this feels familiar. Even if it's not about the same kind of situation, just notice if the feeling tone in your body, the emotions, or something that you have experienced before? And if so, maybe asking your inner knowing, a higher self, if there was an age associated with this, what age might it be? And if it feels like you've always had this, you might ask if this is ancestral, and if so, mother's lineage, father's lineage, and just trusting whatever comes up. If nothing does, it's totally fine. This is just an exploration. Or conversely, asking if it's karmic. And then asking yourself how you might be feeling in this situation if you didn't have this betrayal wound. And if this is not accessible, that's totally fine. You might also feel into it as an aspiration. How would you like to be feeling around this? Might be equanimity, calm, trusting the unfolding, safe regardless of what's happening externally. Whatever it might be, just trusting to the extent that feels accessible right now, whatever you're receiving. And when you're ready, we're going to start tapping. You can keep your eyes closed if they were already, or open them, or do a little bit of both. I'm going to invite you to repeat after me out loud or in your head. And you can modify the words if they don't quite resonate with you as needed. Because it is helpful with EFT if what we're saying feels aligned and true for us. So tapping on the side of your hand. Even though I'm feeling betrayed. And in some ways, this is a familiar feeling. And part of me might be saying, oh no, not this again. I'm open to loving and accepting myself with all of this. I do love and accept myself deeply and completely. Deep breath. Tapping all over your head. High betrayal wound inside of the eyebrows. I feel you. Outside of the eyes. Something about you is familiar. Under the eyes. High emotions that this is bringing up. Under and above the lips, breathe. Powerlessness. Under the collarbone, shock. Middle sternum, resentment. Ribs, rage, anger. Side of the body, confusion. Inside and outside of the wrist, bewilderment. Other wrist, grief and loneliness. And adding any emotions you might be feeling, tapping on the head, inside of the eyebrows, high emotions outside of the eyes, high part of me that does not want to feel any of this under the eyes because it feels so sticky. Under and above the lips. Breathe. Make noise on the exhale. Ah. Shake it out if you want to. Ah. Under the collarbone. Who wants to feel all of this? Middle sternum. And part of me knows. Ribs. That the more I push this away, side of the body, the stronger it gets. Wrist. So maybe I can accept that they're here. Other wrist. And because I don't want to feel this, tapping all over the head, part of me has been hiding out in my head, inside of the eyebrows, maybe fixating on what happened outside of the eyes, on the person or situation under the eyes, how wrong it is. Under and above the lips, breathe. High mind under the collarbone. High part of me that's trying to make sense of things. Middle of the sternum. I know you're trying to help me feel less powerless. Ribs. And it's possible that when I focus externally, side of the body, under the armpits, the part of me that's feeling so hurt. Wrist. Small and scared. Other wrist. Shocked and angry. Tapping all over the head and whatever old wound this might be triggering inside of the eyebrows, activating outside of the eyes isn't getting any attention. Under the eyes is feeling abandoned. Under and above the lips. As I focus on what happened, try to fix it externally. Under the collarbone, breathe. And the part that is hurt and distressed, middle of sternum, is probably feeling even more so. Ribs, when I abandoned it. Side of the body. And I acknowledge the thoughts. Wrist, the old beliefs. Other wrist. Can't trust anyone but myself. all over the head. See, I told you this would happen if you let down your guard. Inside of the eyebrows. The world is not safe. Outside of the eyes. I can't ever catch a break. Under the eyes, breathe. And feel free to add any other beliefs, stories that are coming up under and above the lips. Under the collarbone. Middle of the sternum. High old beliefs. Ribs. I acknowledge any part of me, side of the body that might have inherited or developed these beliefs. Rest. To make sense of very specific circumstances. Other rest. And I acknowledge any old wounds tapping all over the head that are resurfacing. Inside of the eyebrows. Any inner child outside of the eyes that felt betrayed by broken promises. Under the eyes, breathe. Any repeating pattern under and above the lips where I trust and the trust is broken. Under the collarbone, I acknowledge any ancestral stories or situations, middle of the sternum, any karmic baggage, ribs that might have gotten activated by my current situation, side of the body. And it's possible that my safety is not dependent on others. Wrist. It's possible that the more hypervigilant I am, the wrist, constantly scanning the world for danger, tapping all over the head, the more likely it is to happen, not less likely. Inside of the eyebrows. It's possible that trust isn't about a person outside of the eyes, but about guidance under the eyes, trusting the flow of the universe under and above the lips. Maybe even trusting that whatever's happening under the collarbone is intended to help me heal. Middle of the sternum, even if it doesn't feel that way, breathe. Let's pause in the tapping and closing your eyes or softening your gaze. let's call in an energy that's really wanting to help you with the healing. Could be a color, an element, a place where you feel really safe and good. It could be an animal or a plant or a mineral guide, a frequency, sound, a word, a mythical creature, spiritual teacher. And if nothing shows up, maybe just imagine your favorite place in nature, or your favorite color, or quality like warmth, softness that feels good. And just notice if this guide or this quality, color, frequency has a gift or a message for you. And when you're ready, I invite you to gather from your neural pathways the beliefs, the stories that were developed to make sense of things that you're storing here. You can do this either in your head or physically with your hands, gathering the unprocessed emotions from the places in your body that felt tight, jittery, numb. And also gathering from your body. Often this is stored in the shoulders, the arms, the limbs. Any coping strategies you might have developed to address these beliefs about the world, like being hypervigilant, on guard, not trusting, or having a push-pull where one part of you wants to trust and the other part is always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And when it does, that part says to the other, see, I told you so. Whatever it might be. And once you've gathered all of this, holding it out in front of you, outside of your energy field, you might want to gather any residue. I'm actually feeling like there might still be things in people's solar plexus, third chakra, the seat of will. That feeling of the gut punch. And just nod to these old wounds, old beliefs, any repeating patterns, any core stuff that this might have activated. And with gratitude for how the coping strategies might have served a purpose for whatever your young self or younger self, ancestors, past life selves had to do to survive. Any contracts, agreements that might have gotten developed along the way to really reify the sense of I can't trust anything or anyone. Let's nod to all of that. And when you're ready, let it all go, release it back to that guide, to the frequency, to the light of source. Releasing any cords that might be connecting you to a person, a contract, an event, the belief. Handing back any energy that is not yours. And calling back through your crown as light, your own power, your own energy, your life force that might have gotten entangled in this patterns of mistrust, hypervigilance. And just as good measure, and I have other videos on this, if it's helpful, if you feel like there might still be a hook, notice any little part that might still be hooked in, well, they did this in the story, and with the intention of protecting and making sure it never happens again, but it actually keeps you vibrationally hooked in patterns and then repeating them. So noticing if there's still a hook. And then pause. And then slowly unhook. Releasing the thoughts, the spinning mind, the protectors for now, recognizing it's actually having the opposite effect. And then swivel your attention from out there to here and coming back to the parts that felt surprised, hurt, and just bringing so much care, letting them know it was not their fault. And that whatever is happening out there, they are safe, they are held, you're being guided, you are not alone. And maybe calling in whatever new belief you would like to have about yourself, about the world. Maybe that you're safe, you're okay, that you can trust the all of everything, that it can be a both and. Both that whatever happened maybe wasn't okay, but you're okay, whatever it is. And if that puts you back in your head, just let go of that and come back to your heart, to beingness, to interconnectedness. And when you're ready, opening your eyes if they were closed and tapping all over your body, shaking it out, and touching something grounding. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you want to know more about working with me one-on-one to do deeper healing on this or anything else that's coming up, because sometimes these are really core and deep, there's all the information you might need for that in the link below. Thanks again.